Well, hello and welcome to Good Deeds Real Estate with a Mission. I'm Diane Davidson here with Bill Weidecker. That never gets old, Bill. Anyway, we're from the Fine Homes Group at Keller Williams, and we're here to impart some real estate wisdom. Kind of product placement, maybe, but if it it'll get a little groggy, it's the non-caffeine version. So
Of
anyway,
Coke.
of Coke.
You're going to tick
Of
off.
Diet Coke. Was it a Diet Coke?
Yeah, well, it is Diet.
Oh my God.
You're going to tick off all the potential clients that are.
Pepsi drinkers, Pepsi employees.
It's okay.
Was in our vending.
Let's move on. I would like to ask you some questions today. We're going to flip the script, so to speak.
Okay.
I want your opinion on this about selling your home right now in the early stages of the winter months and why that might be an advantage in this current market.
Okay.
Versus spring, because we hear all the time, people, I'm going to wait till spring. It's better in the spring. So, what's your feeling about the fact that there's tons of motivated buyers out there?
My feeling is that that's great for sellers. You know, we have talked about the fall market versus the spring market. In the fall market, I've seen year after year, decade after decade, sellers are out in front of buyers. After Labor Day, Tuesday after Labor Day, they're ready to get the house on the market for the fall market, and buyers are going to the beach one last time if it's a nice weekend, and they're getting their kids back in school, and they're back in sports and so forth. And so, you know, by the time buyers really start looking in earnest, things have sat on the market for a while. Conversely, the spring market starts around January something or other, depending on the weather for buyers, right? So they're out and they're looking, and some of them are kind of leftover, if you will, from the year-end buyers that didn't get anything, and others are just jumping in. They're ready to go.
And spring versus the amount of listings on the market in the spring versus now, what's your take on that?
So again, because sellers tend to be waiting for the spring, if you will, or even taking their properties off the market for the holidays or for the messy time of year. And so we see a lot of listings that either expire or are terminated or withdrawn over the holidays and into January, maybe February. And so there will be more competition for the sellers as typically there has been more competition for sellers as the true spring approaches.
So it's sort of counterintuitive. You've got less competition now versus as a seller.
The seller. Yep.
And still tons of motivated buyers, and even some buyers that may have. Most buyers stayed motivated all through the holidays, but those that didn't postponed their search just for the holiday season, and they're back.
They're back. And the other thing this year, Bill, is that I think there were a lot of people sort of holding their breath until after the election, and probably would have come back, and they just want to see what going to happen, and they know. And I think no matter who was voted into office, the buyers would have been back. They just kind of wanted to know what things were going to be like and have some sense of security, I suppose. So anyway, so I think that's affected this year even more.
Talk to me a little bit about, first of all, this week we had a couple of little snowstorms, and you get this fresh blanket of snow.
It's pretty.
Is that an okay time to have your house on the market in the snow?
It's a great time to do photographs. I mean, if anyone's thinking of even if they're for some reason not ready and not prepared in the interior, they should call us so we can take the winter wonderland photographs, because the way our climate has been, the brown and gray tones are the most prevalent for the more months of the year than the green and the white. And so a good winter wonderland photograph or series thereof will last us through at least late March. So that's a really great thing to have if someone can't do it now but is thinking about doing it in the next few months. Just like when we, for our clients, take exterior photographs in the beautiful seasons where everything's green and the flowers are blooming, to archive those so that their listing looks attractive and buyers don't have to imagine what it's going to look like.
Not uncommon for us to have some of our clients with many seasons of photographs, exterior photographs, because we archive them.
Yep, very common.
So I read this, and I wonder what your thoughts are on this. Some buyers are motivated to purchase a home basically because there's all kinds of job changes that take place and lots of comp packages that are put in place in January
Mhm.
for people. And they're like, okay, came through. I now know that I'm going to get the bonus. It's this or it's
Yeah.
that.
So yeah, so the job changes, absolutely. I think there are a lot of changes at the end of the year. People do a lot of reflection, a lot of nesting, a lot of sort of family conferences, planned or impromptu. But you just feel that bonus is different, and bonus often happens in February, and so people get a sense of what it's going to be, and they're ready to at least start looking and acting. And if they know, once they make a decision or once they have to put down more serious money, they can perform. So we're also kind of, this is a good ramp up time for those people who know they're getting bonuses.
Um, Also, what I was able to read is that sellers in the wintertime, right? They're like, oh my God, I'm going to be showing my house at all hours. And, because there's still competition out there. They're going to be traipsing in from the snow and there's going to have, but is there this concept that with us in a market like this where there isn't very much competition, that you can control the access?
Sure, you can dictate. You can in any market, and this, since it's been a seller's market for so many years, you can restrict, or at least state the seller's preferred showing times. But I have to tell you, all year long when it rains, I would rather have snow in front of my front door to deal with when people come in the house than rain and mud and all sorts of things that happen in the spring, winter, and fall. I mean, spring, summer, and fall. So yes, you can. There are times, honestly, where sellers have various needs and scheduling needs. A lot of people working from home, right? People perhaps with small children, with animals that they need to get out of the house, and so there are times when we have set up showing blocks.
Keep the windows.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Makes sense. This idea that somebody can has been, we've said, you can dictate your terms, closing dates, things of that nature. So you can set up in a market like this, you can set up a spring move date. You don't have to move right now unless the offer is so compelling. But if you might have a number that works for you, but you'd rather move in the spring. Your thoughts on that? And then coupled with this, if you're a buyer in a market like now, and you can negotiate flexible closing date for yourself, close on your house, and move in the spring when like lots of people want to move. But now you're a buyer in the spring, which is as a cash buyer, because the moment you close, you've got all your cash. If you need to, use the cash to purchase a home, you no longer have a home sale contingency.
So what you're saying is when you're trying to sell a home and buy a home, execute on both. Yes, we have many, 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 many times worked with sellers who are going to buy, who frankly, as buyers, aren't as attractive because they're going to have a home sale contingency. So at the very least, we've been able to get them prepared so that if they absolutely cannot see themselves being willing to sell their home and negotiate staying there for a few months, and they're panicked that they won't find the right thing, we can at least get to the point where we can actually write into an offer for the seller who's going to buy, write into the offer that it's subject to their home selling and closing, and the home shall be on the market within 30 minutes of the accepted offer. And then we show the listing agent of the home that they want to buy what it is that's going to be on the market. So they see that there's a really good chance it's going to sell. I'm getting in the weeds here, right?
Well, I knew you'd have all the answers. Some shorter than others.
Some longer.
But honestly, in a podcast, it's a little hard to answer in great detail all the questions that might come up for a seller out there. So if you're considering selling in 2025 and you're not quite so sure about what the opportunities are that present themselves in this first quarter, you really need to call us, because we can talk through strategy in much more detail. And then the decision is really, it boils down to the details around your choices, not sort of like these general or generic choices that many sellers are contemplating in this market.
And would you say, Bill, I'll ask you a question.
I would. No, what would you ask?
If someone's considering selling anytime in the next few years, would it be in their best interest to give us a call?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Allow us to help them get prepared for when they are ready, whenever that is.
We say it all the time. There's a difference between preparedness and readiness.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody can be ready to leave and go to the restaurant, but if they're not dressed they're not prepared. It's the same. My point is that you really have to know that you leave so many key negotiating strategies on the table if you have to rush putting your home on the market. So preparedness gets you through all those multiple strategies that exist out there in a home sale. So yes, I would say that.
So I would say that people, anybody who would like photography taken with the Winter Wonderland scene should call us.
Absolutely.
What should they do?
Call
Call us. Okay.
an embedded command.
I say not terribly embedded. Anyway, that's it for today. Thanks for asking me all those questions. Sorry about the long answers.
That's good. So
Thank you.
thank you for listening, and don't forget to how do you say it? Subscribe to us.
Oh, how do I say it? Don't forget to tune into our YouTube channel. Where do you subscribe to it? Probably.
But
Let's
maybe
figure it
both.
out. It's YouTube.
Maybe
Thanks.
both. You'll find us.
Yeah.
All right. Peace, everybody.